Imagine a world where every thought, word, and action you take creates a ripple that shapes your future. What if you had the power to transform your life simply by being mindful of the choices you make today? In this video, we explore the deep teachings of Buddha on karma, how your actions, intentions, and mindset are the keys to unlocking your true potential. Discover how you can harness the power of karma to create a life filled with purpose, peace, and positive change.
The mist rolled across the hills of Ireland, shrouding the small village in an ethereal quiet. Aoife had always loved the beauty of her home, the wild, windswept fields, the stone cottage nestled against the hills, and the distant craggy cliffs that stretched to the horizon. Raised on tales of Irish folklore, Aoife never gave much thought to the old stories her family often spoke of, especially the one about the Banshee. She dismissed it as an ancient legend, meant to frighten children into good behavior. After all, Aoife was a skeptic, grounded in logic and reason. She didn't believe in the supernatural, despite the whispers of elders in the village. One evening, after a cozy family gathering, Aoife stood outside the cottage, staring at the rising moon as the wind carried a familiar chill. It was then she heard it, a faint wail on the breeze. She turned toward the hills, convinced it was just the wind, or perhaps an animal. But the sound grew louder, more mournful, and impossibly closer. Her heart raced, and a shiver ran down her spine. "Mother?" Aoife called, turning toward the warmth of the cottage. Her mother, standing at the doorway, was pale and trembling, eyes wide with fear. Without a word, she began to pray softly, whispering a name Aoife had never heard before. The name clung to the air as the wail continued, echoing through the night. The next morning, the village was quiet, unnervingly so. Aoife had hardly slept, her thoughts consumed by the wail she had heard and her mother's strange reaction. When she entered the kitchen, she found her mother slumped over at the table, her skin cold and lifeless. The sight sent a shock of ice through Aoife's veins. Her mother, a woman full of life and strength, was now gone. The village elders, old women who knew the ancient ways, arrived soon after. Their faces were grave, and their words were heavier than Aoife could bear. "Your family has been marked by the Banshee, child," one of them whispered, her voice trembling with both sorrow and warning. "This is no ordinary death. It is the Banshee's wail, a herald of doom for those chosen by her." Aoife was in shock, unable to comprehend what the elders were saying. The Banshee? A wailing spirit? Surely this was just an old superstition meant to explain away the inevitable. But the women's faces were filled with such certainty that Aoife could not dismiss them. They spoke of a curse that had been passed down through her bloodline, a curse her family could never escape. With her heart heavy, Aoife was left alone with her grief and a growing fear that she could not shake. If you found out that your family was cursed by an ancient spirit, how would you react? Would you believe in the curse or search for a logical explanation? Days turned into weeks, and Aoife tried to carry on with life as best as she could. But something had changed. The village felt different, colder, and every night she would hear it, the faint, mournful cry of the Banshee, carried on the wind, piercing the stillness of the night. It was as if the wail had never stopped, but had merely been waiting, lurking just out of her reach. Each night, it grew louder, the anguish in the cry more palpable. Aoife's mind became consumed with fear. She had tried to ignore it, to pretend that everything was normal, but the cry was a constant reminder that something was terribly wrong. Her mother's death was just the beginning. The wail was a warning, not just for the living, but for the souls bound by the curse. And Aoife now felt that weight pressing down on her, suffocating her. One night, unable to bear it any longer, Aoife sought out Nuala, an elderly woman who had the reputation of possessing the sight, the ability to see beyond the veil of reality. Nuala lived on the edge of the village, in a cottage surrounded by thickets of brambles. She had always been an outsider, known for her knowledge of the old ways. Aoife, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and desperation, asked Nuala for answers. What was happening to her? Was her family truly cursed? Nuala's eyes softened as she listened, then whispered, "The Banshee's wail is not just a warning, Aoife. It is a curse, one that follows your family through the bloodline. It is death itself calling." The old woman's words haunted Aoife. The Banshee's cry was not just a harbinger of death, it was a cycle, a curse that had plagued her family for generations. And now, it had come for her. Nuala spoke of her ancestors, dark secrets buried deep in the soil of the land. secrets that had led to the Banshee's curse. She told Aoife that the only way to break the cycle was to confront the past, to face the sins of her forebears, and to make amends for the blood that had been spilled. But the path to salvation was fraught with danger. The Banshee's wail was not only an omen of death, it was the spirit of a woman wronged, seeking justice from those who had caused her suffering. Aoife, driven by the need to protect what remained of her family, set out for the ancient ruins that Nuala spoke of, a place where the truth lay hidden beneath centuries of earth and stone. The ruins were far from the village, nestled deep within the moors, surrounded by mist and the remnants of forgotten battles. The closer Aoife got to the ruins, the louder the wail became. It was as if the very land was alive with the curse, resonating with every step she took. When she finally arrived, the wind seemed to carry the voice of the Banshee, urging her to turn back. But Aoife was determined. She dug through the ruins, hoping to find the answers that would free her. If you were told that the only way to break a curse was to confront the sins of your ancestors, would you do it? Or would the fear of the unknown stop you? The ruins were ancient, the stone crumbling under Aoife's trembling hands as she dug deeper into the earth. The Banshee's wail grew louder with every moment, echoing through the ruins as if mocking her efforts. Time seemed to bend in the place, the wind howling and swirling around her, carrying the whispers of the dead. Aoife's heart pounded as she uncovered an old, forgotten grave, its marker half buried beneath layers of dirt. The name on the gravestone struck her like a blow to the chest. It was her own surname, the same as her family's. But this was not just any grave. The inscription matched the name of a woman from her family line, one who had lived centuries ago, a woman who had died in a manner similar to her own mother. Aoife's blood ran cold as she realized the truth. This woman's face in the grave looked eerily familiar. She could have been her twin. Her mind reeled as she stumbled back, the weight of the revelation crashing down on her. Aoife was the final piece of the curse. The Banshee had been calling for her all along. The woman's ghost had been following her family for generations, and now Aoife was the one who had been chosen to complete the cycle. The wail of the Banshee pierced the air one last time, and Aoife knew what she had to do. The curse could only be broken with a sacrifice, her own life. The spirit of the Banshee had been wronged, and only in death could Aoife bring an end to the pain that had plagued her family for so long. The wind howled around her, the spirit of the Banshee manifesting before her mournful face filled with both sorrow and acceptance. Aoife closed her eyes, stepping forward into the embrace of the Banshee, ready to break the curse once and for all. The wind stopped, the wail faded, and with it, the curse was broken. Thank you for following Aoife's journey to break the Banshee's curse. Would you have been able to face your ancestors' sins and make the ultimate sacrifice, or would you have sought another way to escape your fate? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this tale left you questioning the power of curses and the price of redemption, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Dare to Listen. After all, sometimes the only way to end a haunting is to confront it head-on and face the wail of death itself.